FM HDMS. What an amazing song there from the late Nat King Cole. You're only going to hear songs like this on our radio station, FM HDMS. As I told you, we're going down the turnpike to New York, one of the cities, one of the states that I truly love to go to shop. I want to welcome, we have been conversing on the telephone. This young man is impacting, I'm going to say he's impacting America. He's been on TV. He's a talk show host, great speaker. Had the opportunity of meeting him a few years ago, and he's going to be coming to our studios real soon. I want to welcome Asa, that I know him as. What a wonderful activist for people, situations that are going on. And I'm going to let him, he can speak all about himself and introduce himself to the world. Good morning to you, brother. How you doing? So glad you could join us from New York. How you doing?
Oh, good morning, my friend. Thank you for having me. It's truly a pleasure and an honor.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Asa, tell everybody your full name. Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Asa Khalif, and I am the founding president of a group called Racial Unity.
Wow. I am delighted, humbly delighted to be able to have you on the show today. You're such a busy person. You have been involved in so much with the Trayvon situation, other things that I see your post on Facebook. Can you just share, before we even talk about the march, I want people to know a little bit about this guy like you, man, that's impacting people's lives, making a difference, standing out there in the gaps and being that voice for so many. Tell everybody a little bit about who you are as a person first.
Well, I actually am extremely shy, and when I look at some of my resume of things that I've accomplished, I know that it is nothing of my power. It's truly the grace of God that gives me the courage to do it, because I'm pretty much the type of guy that would like to be in the background and kind of pushing things forward. I kind of got thrown into this activism thing, unfortunately, when a friend of mine was a victim of racial profiling and violence that led to his death. And so I saw that there was a gap where there was no one speaking up for him, and his voice kind of got lost in the darkness, I should say. And I wanted to shine a light that not only was he a very dear friend of mine, but that he was a pillar of the community, and he deserved to have his life celebrated. So I kind of got into the activism thing based on my passion for him. And again, it led to God's will. It certainly was not my will to be an activist. I wasn't even in school for that. But again, God has a way of making things so. And we just have to be Jonas and go for it. And so it started with that. And then I said, well, Lord, if I had a separate prayer and said, for the most part, if this is what you want me to do, or part of it in my life, then you have to make ways and open doors. And as you know, Racial Unity I started Racial Unity in my mother's kitchen. It was 5 members.
Wow.
And we have 1,000 members now. And actually, we are not only nationwide, but we're worldwide at this point. And it started with just 5 members, and God has just been so wonderful. He's opened every door, and I always pray. I never speak on my own sort of volition, will, but I always ask God to allow that passion, for me to never lose that passion, which started the group, and speak through me, and just have me connect with everyone, because there's only one race, as I say before someone, and that's the human race. And we have far more in common than we do, not in common. So we need to make that connection and realize that the only way that we can survive as a race, and that's human, is if we come together and move forward.
I know that's right. So you have absolutely traveled the world then.
Yes, I have.
And you've been through a lot of experiences. You've seen the hurts, the tears, the cries, many people. Let me ask you this, Asa. What has been one of your most interesting experiences so far dealing with this racial thing?
I think so far is when I was able to go to Oklahoma, and in one of the most segregated sections in that state. I was able to connect with an owner at the time who wouldn't even serve African Americans, believe it or not.
Wow.
It still exists. And I was able to, I reached out to him. I wrote him a letter, actually. and explained who I was. And I said, I would love to sit down and meet with you and hear your side of the story. Sometimes it's to make that connection, Simone, you have to really listen to people. And if people realize that they are actually being heard and not judged, you can make a connection with that person. And I wanted to understand why he felt this way. And I was able to meet with him, and he introduced, invited me to his home. And I sat. I was the only black person who's ever been in this man's home.
Wow.
And I met his family, and I sat with him and said, I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to debate racial issues with you. I'm here to listen to you and find out what brought you to this point.
Wow.
And when I was able to hear him and really hear what he had to say and listen to him, I was able to find out, based on his confession, that his son was murdered by someone who was African American.
Wow.
And that was the first time that race had ever been an issue with him. There was a time where his first business, this was actually his second business, the restaurant business, but his first business, he hired and employed many African Americans, having them in charge. So when we got to the root of the pain, then we were able to make a breakthrough.
Wow.
And it changed my way of thinking about individuals who are closed-minded, that there are no hope that once they get a certain age. And we were able to make that connection and a friendship that has lasted for about 5 years now.
That's amazing. That is really, really amazing. Absolutely incredible. We appreciate you sharing that. So now let's bring things up to date. You do so much, and that's why I got to get you here to sit across from me. Let's talk about, first of all, you're so passionate about the Trayvon situation that leads to this march. I saw you on the television. I watched you. You did a phenomenal job at reporting that information and sharing your thoughts. Share a little feedback on that and tie that into this 50-year celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King.
Well, it shows that the Trayvon Martin case shows that America has a long way to go in terms of racial equality. We've made some great strides, of course, but we can't give up because there are still pockets of racism that we must address and shine light on and fight. And I think with the Trayvon Martin, what it has done for especially African Americans, it's lit a fire of this new generation, which unfortunately some of the civil rights leaders have sort of dropped the ball when it came to our generation. And what it's done is reconnected us to our elders again, and brought us to a point where we can respect our elders now because they're standing up. I have never seen so much movement from our elders that's come out of retirement, come out of the shadows now, come off their comfort zone. And Trayvon Martin has united us once again, not only just as an African American race, but it has united us as a people, because there were many whites and Latinos and Asians, especially in the march that I led in Philadelphia, which we had over about 1,000 people.
Yes. And
it was groundbreaking because it was a sea of faces from all walks of life and religions and so on. So I think it has sparked that spirit of civil rights coming together, realizing that the justice system, unfortunately, is not just when it comes to our black and brown and poor working class people. And we have to change that. And the only way we can do that, Simone, is if we come together as a people and as a human race and fight against injustice.
Very good.
So it all ties with the 50th anniversary.
Wonderful. I want you to hold your thought right there. We're going to take a break. Got to pay a couple of bills, some announcements.
Sure.
I want to come right back with you, and we're going to pick up this conversation about the march and whatever else you want to share. Stay right there. It's FM HDMS. We'll be right back after this.